Steve, let's start with our semi-regular deconstruction of Janet Yellen, or the reading of the Janet Yellen tea leaves. So I don't quite get it. She came out this week. She sort of calmed the markets. She was a little more dovish. But didn't she also do this exact same thing 2 weeks ago?
Well, no. Well, yes, she was, but she was a little more dovish. At least the market thought she was a little more dovish than 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So what we've talked about a little in the past is how good Janet Yellen is at talking. She's a very good talker, right?
Right.
But she seems to do a better job when she's talking to the market about, hey, interest rates are going to be a little lower, and it's effective, right? She's made this speech. They didn't actually change any policy, right? They didn't cut rates or do anything like that.
Right.
But she made this speech, and the interest rates futures moved down. So it's kind of like she gets a cut out of just like talking. So it's worked really well, except when she starts hinting she's going to raise rates. When she starts talking about raising rates, then everything goes into volatility, and that's what we saw in December.
She also started talking about inflation, and there's been more talk about the fear of inflation or the risk of inflation. But I thought the whole interesting thing, uncanny thing about this recovery is how low and how absent inflation is.
Right. So you have to see whether it's hard to know whether people are listening to her. She did talk about inflation. Nobody heard it. The market didn't hear it, right? If the market really heard that she was worried about inflation, then it probably would have interpreted her speech as bad. It interpreted it quite good. It interpreted that she's probably going to raise rates fewer than even maybe now down to 1 time this year as opposed to 2 times, and before it was 4. So she may be talking about inflation. Nobody's listening to her.
The market hears what it wants to hear.
Right.
One thing I love that Alan Murray, the editor of Fortune, wrote today is that he talks about what a great communicator she is compared with when he was a Cub reporter 3 decades ago chasing down Paul Volcker after a similar event. And Volcker said, we did what we did, we didn't do what we didn't do, and the result was what happened. So we really have come a long way in terms of communication.
But it's a strategy, right? It's not just like she's a better talker than...
It's policy.
It's policy, and she thinks that talking works, and it has really worked well for her on the way, with the current policy. As rates go up, we'll see how well it works.